I never imagined that the person I trusted the most would become the one to tear me down so cruelly. It happened during what should have been a beautiful night, a dinner surrounded by friends and family. Out of nowhere, my husband laughed at me and called me stupid, right in front of everyone. The room froze. My cheeks burned. I wanted to disappear. But what came after that moment changed everything. If you've ever been humiliated by someone you love, you'll understand the storm that rises inside. What would you do if the person meant to protect you was the one who broke you? Stay with me until the end, because this story isn't just about pain. It's about finding the courage to stand up. And if at any point my story touches you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so we can continue walking through these journeys of truth together. The night started beautifully. It was our anniversary dinner, and I had spent hours choosing the right dress, fixing my hair, making sure everything felt perfect. Friends and family had gathered at our favorite restaurant, the one we always said held our happiest memories. I was nervous, but also proud, because I had organized most of it. At first, the atmosphere was warm. People were laughing, glasses were clinking, and I felt like maybe, just maybe, things were going to be different this time. My husband had always been sharp with words, but I thought he would at least behave in front of others. I let myself relax into the moment. Then, while I was telling a small story, something silly about getting lost earlier that day, he interrupted me with a loud laugh. Everyone turned their eyes to him, expecting a joke. Instead, he smirked, shook his head, and said, "God, you're so stupid sometimes." His voice cut through the room like glass shattering. For a second, I thought I hadn't heard him right. But the way people looked at me, their half smiles fading into uncomfortable silence, confirmed everything. My stomach dropped and I felt the color drain from my face. He had humiliated me in front of everyone I loved. I tried to laugh it off, but my throat tightened. My hands shook under the table, and the room seemed to close in. I looked at him, searching for some sign that he didn't mean it. But all I saw was amusement in his eyes, like making me small had given him power. In that moment, I remembered all the little jabs he had made in private, the times he'd mocked me for forgetting something, the sarcastic comments about my ideas, the way he always dismissed my efforts. I had told myself it wasn't serious, that it was just his way of joking. But tonight, it wasn't a private joke. It was public execution. The silence stretched long and heavy. My mother shifted in her seat, clearly uncomfortable. A cousin tried to force a laugh, but it died quickly. Everyone knew this wasn't funny. It was cruel. And I sat there, feeling like the world had just split open beneath me. I excused myself to the bathroom, my chest tight, my eyes burning. As I stared at myself in the mirror, mascara smudging, I asked the question I had avoided for years. How did I end up here, letting someone who promised to love me turn into my biggest critic? When I returned, people tried to change the subject. The dinner continued, but the air was heavy with the unspoken. Something inside me shifted that night. I realized that I couldn't keep excusing his behavior, that if I allowed this to pass again, I'd be signing away my own dignity. And for the first time in a long while, I decided that I would not let this story end in silence. The next day, I confronted him. My voice trembled, but my words were firm. I told him how deeply he had hurt me, how being laughed at and called stupid in front of everyone was not just embarrassing, but degrading. His response was a shrug. "You're too sensitive," he said. Everyone knew I was joking. But the truth is, no one was laughing. The truth is, he wasn't joking. And I told him exactly that. I told him I would no longer stay quiet while he chipped away at my confidence. I told him if he wanted to belittle me, he could do it alone, because I refused to be part of his show anymore. For the first time, I saw something flicker in his eyes. Fear. Not because of losing me, but because he realized I wasn't going to play the part he had written for me. The power he held was slipping, and he knew it. I reached out to my family that week. I told them everything. The years of subtle insults, the constant dismissal, the way he twisted everything into a joke. And to my surprise, they stood by me. They told me they had seen the signs, but were waiting for me to speak up. That gave me strength. If this story has already touched you in some way, give it a like now and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Because sometimes, one story is all it takes to remind us that we are not alone. In the weeks that followed, I began to rebuild. I found small ways to reclaim myself, signing up for classes, spending time with people who respected me, speaking up without apologizing. Every step felt shaky, but also liberating. He tried to win me back at first. He promised it would never happen again. But I had heard those promises before, and I knew they were empty. The truth is, he wasn't sorry for hurting me. He was sorry for being caught. Eventually, I made the hardest decision of my life. I chose to walk away, to choose my dignity over his comfort, to stop waiting for him to change and start changing my own life. It wasn't easy. It broke me open in ways I didn't expect, but it also set me free. When I look back on that night now, I don't see it as the worst moment of my life anymore. I see it as the turning point, the moment when his cruelty forced me to finally face the truth, that I was worth more than his laughter, that I was not stupid, that I had the power to stand. And the most unexpected thing, the people who had once witnessed my humiliation later became witnesses to my strength. They saw me leave, they saw me rebuild, and they told me they had never respected me more. So when I think of that dinner, I no longer feel shame. I feel gratitude, because that was the night I stopped living under someone else's shadow. That was the night I realized that silence only feeds cruelty, and that speaking up is the first step to freedom. Maybe you've been there too, laughed at, dismissed, made to feel small by someone you trusted. If so, let this story remind you that your voice matters, that your dignity is not negotiable, that love without respect isn't love at all. And now I want to invite you. If something in this story resonated with you, if a piece of your own truth was mirrored here, join me. Don't let this journey end here. Like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to this channel. Together, we are building a community where no voice goes unheard.